My name is Liz Thompson, and I'm the National Education Manager at Genome Canada. And I thank you very much for tuning into our Instagram Live today. We have an embroidery week this week, and what we're going to do today is show how to embroider fringe flowers. And Erin will be up on Thursday, and she will be showing you some other embroidery features. So without any further ado, I'm going to switch the camera back to the machine and we will get going with what I have planned for today. And I'm just going to put my headphones in because I think when I'm moving around the room and away from the iPad screen, the sound is probably a little better. It would be really good for me to know whereabouts you're tuning in from. So if you'd like to tell me I'm from Ontario or I'm from a particular state in America, maybe you're even from further afield, that would be great. There is a question, when will the zipper videos be available on YouTube? Margaret, thank you very much for your question. They are actually ready. I have not made them public yet. We did the editing yesterday, and they will be made public a little later today on our Genome Life YouTube channel. This particular Instagram Live, many people have said to me, I'm not on Instagram. I don't want to be on Instagram. I'm not too sure why, because I love Instagram. But anyway, be that as it may, the video of today's Instagram Live will become available on our Genome Life YouTube channel within time. Just give us a little bit of time. We don't have a very large staff here in Canada. We're a lean, mean team, and we do need a few days to get the editing done and to get it uploaded and so on to our Genome YouTube channel. Okay, first of all, I wanted to give our dealers in Canada a huge shout out. Many of them are operating, well, all of them are operating in very difficult circumstances. I'm not going to make this a heavy presentation today, so we're not going to talk about the health crisis, but just to say, do support your dealers and to make you aware of the fact that we have a fabulous promotion on in Canada at the moment. We will drop ship machines to your door. You do not even have to get out of your PJs if you don't want. You can just answer the doorbell when it has been delivered, and there, hey presto, your new machine will be on your doorstep. All you need do is contact your favorite local Genome dealer, and they will explain to you how this current drop shipping promotion works. So as I say, you don't have to get out your PJs, you don't have to get in your car, you don't have to go to the dealer's store. However, having said that, I do want you to be aware that, and I should probably turn the camera back, seeing as I'm talking so much and not doing something at the machine. The dealers, many of them, are operating behind locked doors. So if you call them or email them and tell them what you need, they are very happy to ship to you, or they are also very happy to do curbside. Some of them are happy to do curbside pickups. So do bear those things in mind. You don't have to wait until the end of this drama to get elastic or zippers or thread or a new machine. You can contact your dealer today. Okay, I think that is good. So we'll go back to the machine now, and I want to start talking about how I prepared the machine. So the first thing I'm going to show you is I have a red tip needle in the machine. Now, we've done many posts on Genome Life on what our Genome needles are, why you need them, what they're for, what are the blue tips for, purple tips, red tips, and so on. So if you want exhaustive information, do go to Genome Life and just put Genome needles or red tips or whatever in the search box, and you'll get tons of information. The red tip I like using for embroidery because it has a large eye. I think you might be able to see that. I'm not sure, maybe not. But because of the large eye, there is less friction on your embroidery thread, and so you get less thread breakage. It is a size 14 needle, so it is a great needle to use for embroidery. So that's what's in the machine. And I also use this product, our Artistic Tack Temporary Adhesive, because I happen to be one of the people that really likes to use my hooping with just my stabilizer. I don't hoop my fabric. And so what I've done today is I did it prior to this presentation because I didn't want to be spraying glue near my machine. So I sprayed this stabilizer so it's a little bit tacky, and I'm going to lay my fabric over the top of the hoop, and I am sewing on the Janome 15,000 today because that happens to be the embroidery machine I have here at home. But we'll talk about other machines that have got fringe flowers that you can use a little bit later in the presentation. So what I've got here is I have got some things to show you, because I don't have the screen of the machine on the camera. I have taken some photographs of the screen of the machine on my phone, and I'm going to show you this really cool feature which is on the screen at the top of it. In fact, let's go back one. Yeah, there we are. This is the one I wanted. Do you see my little stylus is pointing to a hoop with a little red arrow? If you touch that icon, this one comes up, this screen comes up. And this is a very cool feature because what I did was I touched that little center arrow, which is pointing upwards. And what it did was it moved my hoop forward. So if we look at the machine now, you will see my hoop is way forward on the machine. And I did that because I wanted to be able to put the fabric on there without having to dig under the needle. All right, so I have another picture to show you on my iPhone, and this is another feature that I do not know how I could live without. So this is a picture of the screen as it is right now in real life on my machine, and I have chosen this fringe flower. Now let me talk a little about what this fringe flower is. I'm sure if you're clever and you have embroidery software, you could digitize these fringe flowers for yourself, but we do have them built into a number of our machines. So the machines that I'm using, as I already mentioned, is the Janome 15,000. I went last night and looked up manuals and have checked, and the Janome 12,000 also has fringe designs. These, for the most part, are found in the FA hoop or free arm hoop category of the machine. Some machines actually have a category specifically called fringe embroidery designs. So 15,000's got it, 12,000's got it, and also the Memory Craft 9900 has 8 fringe embroidery designs, fringe flower designs, and so does the new 9850, Memory Craft 9850. Both of those machines have 8 fringe embroidery designs, so you can have a look at those. Okay, so what I'd like to show you then is this picture that I had up on the screen a moment ago. And I want to show you a very cool feature that, as I say, I couldn't live without. If I take the next picture, well, actually, let's go back to the first one. Do you see that my stylus is pointing towards a little square with arrows? That is my trace and baste function. So once I touch that icon, this is what comes up on my screen. And you'll see my stylus once again is pointing to the second little block at the top, which is basting. So once I do the baste, this is what comes up, and I have now selected it. So I'm going to go to the machine, and you're going to see how I do this basting. And I'm going to teach you a little trick that I really love. Is I've got my machine threaded up with yellow thread, and we'll talk about threads in a moment. And I am going to press my stop-start button, and I am going to then raise up my needle. Sorry, let me just do needle up, down. And do you see that I have brought up my bobbin thread. Now I like to do that because if I now press stop start again and it starts my basting, some of you that have tried the basting function on your machine, you may sometimes have noticed that it does not always pick up the bobbin thread. And you might be saying, oh, for goodness sake, Janome sold me a lemon, because I get those calls, so I know what you say. You have not bought a lemon. It's just that the thread tension on the basting and the length of the stitch is very long, and so it's sometimes quite hard for it to pick up that bobbin thread. So I just give it that little bit of extra help by pulling the bobbin thread up first before I start. Then I have no aggravation, and every single time I do basting, it's perfect. All right, so now I'm going to switch the basting function off at the machine, and I'm going to press my stop start button, and the machine is going to start stitching. And I'm just going to move it here so that you can see a little bit better, a little bit closer, and it's doing it fairly slowly. This particular design, there are several on the 15,000, but this is the one that I've chosen to show you now. It has got two colors. So I chose a yellow thread. That thread happens to be a Madeira poly neon thread. It's a polyester embroidery thread. I really like polyester embroidery thread because it is stronger than rayon. And all the polyester embroidery threads nowadays have got enough luster or shine on them for my liking. The other big advantage with polyester embroidery threads is that they are color fast. So if you do them on things around the house like tea towels, tablecloths, napkins that you might be throwing in the wash, and you might accidentally put some bleach anywhere near them, you would lose the color of your embroidery if you did not have polyester. That does not happen with polyester. It doesn't lose color with bleach, particularly also for things like kiddies clothing. Okay, so it is doing its stitching around, and it is doing it fairly slowly because the stitches are fairly long. So it's now done that fringe stitching all the way around the side, and now it has stopped. And it has gone to color number 2, which I would thread up at this point, and I would change my color to a white center in my daisy or my flower. I'm not going to do that because we're not here to watch the machine stitch. What I want to do is I want to show you this. This is what I stitched yesterday, and the little flowers, let's turn it around, the little flowers here and here are just different colors. One is the design, this one at the bottom is the design that I was just stitching now. The other one has got several different color changes in it, so you can, 3 I think, and so you can actually change the color of your embroidery thread so you get like a variegated flower, which I think is really quite pretty. So this is the size at which the design comes up on the screen of the machine. But of course, Liz always pushes the boundaries. So what I did was I took it into the edit screen on my embroidery machine. This, of course, can be done in AccuEdit app. It can also be done in Horizon Link Suite or Embroidery Editor if your machine has software called Embroidery Editor, the 550E, the 500, and so on. You can also do it in embroidery software. So over on the right hand side here where my thumb is pointing, those 2 flowers, I increased the size of them by 20%. Now the machine and the AccuEdit app won't let me go larger than 20% because it knows that the design is probably not going to be a really successful stitch out if you go much larger than that. So you can see those are larger than the original, and the ones in the middle, I took the size down 20% to 80% of the original size and made smaller flowers. Okay, so there we have sizing. But I haven't got it here. I couldn't find the sample, so I'm thinking it must be in the classroom in Toronto, and I'm out on the West Coast. But I did do one which I took into embroidery software and made it, I think if I remember correctly, it was like 5 inches in diameter. and it took a very long time to stitch out because it did each little stitch of that fringe kind of one by one by one. It was very hard to watch it. But that actually was really quite an interesting one. It almost looked like a dahlia when it had been finished. So here is a flower that has been stitched. And it's completed. You'll even see the little holes there in the fabric from my basting. And of course, if you're using a cotton fabric, those do go away very easily in the wash and if you touch them. So now, what do I do? How do I make it bloom and blossom out like the other ones? All you do is you turn this to the back and you take your scissors and you put them into the bobbin threads and you simply cut around, all the way around the bobbin threads here. Okay, let me just check that I got all the threads. Yes, I think I did. So don't fret. Your whole flower is not going to fall apart. And then all you do is you take your scissors or some other piece of like tweezers, or even I think my stylus may work better because it's not got a sharp point. And do you see that I am now taking, let's get the camera right. Okay, I am taking, those ones didn't get trimmed, so let me trim that. And I keep going all the way around and I bloom my flower out, and there we have it. This particular one was the one that had 3 stitches, so I did 2 white and 1 yellow, and it gives that pretty little result. So that there is the fringe flowers. I would continue with the second color with the one on the machine. Now, what can I use these fringe flowers for? They're pretty. It's spring. I've got daffodils and cherry blossoms and goodness knows what else in my garden. Sorry to rub it in, but the rest of the year, everybody starts telling me that I live in the most dreadful place because it rains and the skies are gray all the time. And they are quite a lot. But do you know what? We do also get some absolutely glorious weather, and we do get daffodils and tulips before most of the rest of the country. So I'm just going to rub it in just a little today. All right, so back to the machine. I've shown you my basting trick to pull up your bobbin thread. I've shown you the different sizes of the flowers. I've shown you how to do the blooming. So now when you get to removing the stabilizer, I used a tearaway, a Madeira tearaway stabilizer. It's called Cotton Soft, and you'll see that it perforated on the outside of the circle, and I left this just so that I can show you how easy it is to simply take this off at a later stage, and now I have no stabilizer left on the back. So what am I going to do with these flowers? Well, you can obviously decorate garments. You can decorate things at home. What about putting some of those on an art quilt? You could certainly put them on kiddies' clothing, t-shirts. I have even put them on a bag, and I also hunted high and low for that sample, but I couldn't find it, so I'm guessing it's in a Rubbermaid tub in Toronto. But I stitched it on vinyl. There's one thing that I do want to warn you about if you stitch on leather and vinyl is, do you see those little holes in the fabric? Now, as I said to you, those go away when you're using something like a cotton. So you don't have to worry about them. But when you do something like a vinyl or a leather, those little holes will not go away. So that was one disadvantage when I did the flowers on some vinyl. But you could always do them on fabric and then attach them to the vinyl afterwards. And we've got some questions here. So let me just scroll down. Oh my goodness. Hello. G Royal from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm from Africa originally, South Africa, right down at the bottom of the African continent. So welcome. Then let's just see, why cut from the back? Well, if you cut it from the front, then you would have much shorter petals, as it were. The technique is you cut the bobbin threads and it releases the embroidery thread, which you then pull through. Good question. Did I do a couple of stitches and change to a different color to get the changes? The design is digitized with color stops. So the machine stops after the one particular flower that has got 3 different colors in the petals, it stops and gives me the opportunity to change to a new color. If you don't want to change to a new color and you want all the layers to be the same color, that's also it's your flower. You can make it however you want. Yes, somebody else answered that question from the back. Okay, so removing the stabilizer, let me just see what else I need to tell you. Oh yes, one thing I did forget to tell you was that I used Janome pre-wound bobbins. We have them in white and we have them in black. Now, obviously, I used the white ones today, and I do want to tell you a little bit about bobbin cases and bobbins. A lot of this information is on Janome Life. So if you don't know our Janome Life blog, you just need to go to janome.ca, which is the Canadian Janome website. And along the top, you will see a bunch of tabs, and one of them says blog. And then you can go either to our French blog, which is VJanome, or to Janome Life, which is our English blog. The alternative, of course, is you can just go to janomelife.wordpress.com and it will get you to the blog. We've been doing that blog now for a very long time, more than 10 years. Currently, we are doing a Janome Life post every day of the week because we're trying to make up for the fact that we can't get out and about and visit you at our dealer stores and go to shows. That's all on hold for the little while. So we've stepped up our Janome Life posts. Many of those posts do contain videos, which you can watch for your learning pleasure. There is a comment box below the blog post. So if you have additional questions, you can ask those questions in the comment box and I will answer. Generally speaking, I answer within 24 to 48 hours. So if you are looking, let's say, for information about red tip needles, there is a search box down the right hand side of the home page of Janome Life. You can search and up will come every blog post we've ever done where we talked about red tip needles. And then bobbin cases, same thing. You can go there and put in Janome bobbin cases. So let me talk a little bit about these bobbin cases. Here is a bobbin case, and I want you to notice over there, do you see there's a little red marking? This is the regular bobbin case that comes with most of our sewing machines and sewing embroidery combo machines. And that is the one that you use for regular sewing. It's got a regular tension and it's just perfect. All right, we also then have this one, and you will see that it's got a different marking. It's yellow, and that has a yellow dot. And so we call that one our yellow dot bobbin case. And I've just had a question, so I'll come back to yellow bobbin case in a moment. Somebody asked to please show the basting spray I use and the stabilizer I use. The basting spray, this is Artistic is a Janome brand. In other words, Janome, Elna, Neki, Artistic, we're all under the same roof. And this is a product that you can buy from the Janome Canada dealers. It's a temporary adhesive spray. It is water soluble, so you don't need to worry about it sticking. I just didn't want to spray it near the machine. And you notice that it has 30% less VOCs, which I call very horrible chemicals. But it's volatile organic compounds is the thing I think those initials stand for. The stabilizer I used a tearaway, because I wanted to be able to remove it easily afterwards, and I used a Madeira tearaway, and that is the one I used was white, and it was called Cotton Soft. I missed the Instagram live videos. The videos are supposed to be on YouTube. They aren't yet. Yes, I did address that earlier in this Instagram live. They have been edited yesterday. I did not want to ask my people to have to work on the Easter weekend. We all deserved a break. And so I said to Janome girl who does the editing that she could take the weekend off, and she did the editing yesterday. And last night, I'm sorry, I was too tired to go to YouTube and make them laugh, but I promise you I will do it today. Those videos will be up today on the Janome Life YouTube channel. All right, so let's get back to our yellow dot bobbin case. What is this then? How is it different to the red one I showed you a moment ago? Well, that is a higher tension. And if you've ever done embroidery and noticed that your bobbin thread might creep up a little to the top of your embroidery around the edges, and that's really, I always say to people, you've only got three choices there. You can cry. Excuse me. Oh, goodness me, those are my sneezes. The sun is shining in my window, and I always sneeze when the sun is shining, which is probably a good thing that I live in Vancouver. All right, so there's only three things you can do. You can cry, you can throw the embroidery away, you can swear, or fourth thing, you can use a yellow dot bobbin case. So what Janome has done is we have made yellow dot bobbin cases. Oops, here's another sneeze coming. Maybe I can ward it off. All right, that yellow dot bobbin case comes with our embroidery machines, and it is a higher tension, so it pulls the top thread, the needle thread, a little bit down to the back, and so you don't get that bobbin thread creeping up. Then the other, I wanted to talk a little bit more about that, is that if you are using Janome pre-wound bobbins, you can get away without using the yellow dot bobbin case. And I will tell you that, I don't know why it is, but the 500E and the 550E both come standard when you take it out of the box, when you've just bought it, and it has the red bobbin case in it. And many times I've had to say to people, no, 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 take that out. If you're winding your own bobbins, take that red one out and put the yellow one in. You're going to get a better result. I don't worry too much about it. I just leave my yellow dot bobbin case in for all embroidery. Now I'm going to show you another bobbin case. Do you see that there is a blue marking on it? This is known as our blue dot or quilter's bobbin case or low tension bobbin case. So that one doesn't come with the machine. That one is an optional accessory which you can get from your local dealer, and I use it for embroidery when I am doing embroidery in the hoop. In other words, AccuFill quilting. Anytime I do not want a lot of thread buildup on the back of my quilt, I switch to the blue dot, because then it keeps the thread more or less in the middle of my quilt. All right, so a question was, where do I find the fringe flower? You must have tuned in late, because I did mention that near the beginning. They are built-in embroidery designs on a number of our Janome machines, the 15,000, the 12,000, the 9,900, and the new machine 9850. They are found either in the free arm hoop section of the embroidery designs or in a special section called Fringe Designs. Yes, and you can find out about Fringe Designs also in the manual. If you have a machine that has got it, there is a page in the manual. Flip through your manual. I know we're allergic to that, but it's really a good place to look for that. And it is the 15,000 that we're working in. And so there we go. I think we've more or less come to the end of what I wanted to share with you today. And so here we have Instagram Live. It will be posted once it's been edited in a day or two to the YouTube channel on Janome Life. Please don't forget to support our local Janome Canada dealers. We want them to be there when this is all over. We want them to still be there to be giving us everything that they are currently giving us behind doors. Okay, thank you so much for joining in today. Next one will be on Thursday this week with Janome girl Erin, and she will be talking more about more embroidery features. So as I say, thank you very much for joining in. See you again.